Welcome to Something to Wrestle With.
Something to wrestle with.
Bruce Prichard. Well, you know.
Let's talk about Triple H, because he's obviously somebody that a lot of people listening want to hear about. He wrote in his book, "I'll never forget Jim Cornette sitting at Vince McMahon's dining room table and making the statement, 'Triple H will never draw a dime in this business.' No, Jim, he hasn't drawn a dime. He's drawn 1 billion dimes." So Russo's a pretty big Triple H fan. He continues, "The game. I gave Hunter that moniker, and I cringe every time I hear JR scream it. Man, if I was paid royalties, I'd be living in San Francisco, retired, and sitting in Pac-Bell watching a Giants game right now. So many characters were my creations, their look, their name, their catchphrases." As far as you remember, did Russo come up with the look, name, catchphrase, and the game for Triple H?
He definitely did not come up with the look. I don't know if he came up with the game or not. That might have been something that Russo wrote in promos at some point for Hunter. So that may be true. I really don't know that one way or another. I do remember, Corny and Vince McMahon saying that, Triple H would be a mid-card guy at best early on in his career. And Russo was a huge proponent of Triple H. And I dare say that without Russo at the helm at the time, that Hunter probably would not have gotten the breaks that he got at that time.
Was Russo, in your opinion, the biggest advocate for Hunter at the time?
Yeah, and then Vince McMahon became, but Hunter was one of those guys that was always around and always asking questions and wanting to be a part of whatever he could do and wanting to learn. I liked Hunter because I always liked his attitude and just willing to do whatever it took to learn the business. So, but Russo was definitely on the, pushing Hunter and had an awful lot of ideas for him.
Russo wrote in his book he didn't see what the big deal was about the curtain call. He thought everybody was kind of overreacting, you and Cornette in particular. And he says, "For the next 6 months or however long it was until I started booking, the office buried Hunter. They punished him like a third grader who'd been caught wearing shoe mirrors to school. But that's the way the business was back then. The office punished you, tried to teach you a lesson whenever you did something that they didn't agree with. I can tell you that wasn't my way of handling things when I came along. I didn't believe in those ancient ways of doing business. If somebody screwed up, tell them, correct it, and move on. If they needed to be reprimanded a second time, then act accordingly, but to their face. Don't screw with them and keep them in the dark about what's going on." So Hunter was in the doghouse. They tested him on every level to see if he was going to gut it out, and he did. He shoved it right up their tails. Did you ever have a discussion with Russo about the curtain call in particular? And do you remember this being a debate, or was he just kind of passive about it?
I'm sure I did. I don't remember anyone in particular, any one specific interaction with Russo about it, but I'm sure that I did at some point. And it was simply a feeling of what they did being disrespectful to Vince, being disrespectful to the memory of Vince's dad, and doing it in the garden in our home. It was something that hadn't been done before and that everybody was upset about, not just me, not just Cornette, but Vince McMahon and pretty much every one of the boys that wasn't involved in the curtain call. So, and in addressing things to their face, we did address it with Sean and with Hunter to their face. I personally did. I know Vince did. I know everybody that was involved in that did. So I don't know what he's alluding to there that didn't address anything with Hunter to his face. Hunter was punished, and he was considered for King of the Ring, and Vince didn't feel like he could trust him at that time and wanted Hunter to prove himself, and Hunter did.
Did the punishment stop when Russo was more in control? And do you remember that being like why it stopped? You guys would have just continued like right now?
Oh, absolutely not. No. And because Vince, again, he felt that he had done his time, and once he proved himself, then, hey, let's try something here.
In his book, Russo gave the USA Network and Bonnie Hammer a lot of credit for the success of the WWF. He says specifically that Bonnie Hammer was sharper than Freddy Krueger's glove. She was so savvy, so hungry, and she knew what sold. The more we pushed the envelope, the higher the ratings got, and the more money Raw generated for the network, plain and simple. All we had to do was call Bonnie in advance. If she knew we were going to be walking a tightrope, just prepare USA for any phone calls that they might be getting after the show aired. As the ratings began to soar, USA would look the other way. Beautiful, baby, beautiful. That's how television should be. It's all about the numbers. Numbers equal money. I don't think that USA Network and Bonnie Hammer get enough credit for allowing you guys to kind of have some extra rope here. Would you agree?
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. And I think the Bonnie Hammer, she made her name on the WWE, and WWE had a great platform in the USA Network, and Bonnie was a great partner.
He talked about